I couldn't squat for years, until I did this one thing. Friends, I want to share a personal dark history of my fitness journey. A secret that frustrated me deeply. For 5 full years, I couldn't perform a single standard, comfortable squat. Yes, as a fitness influencer, this sounds ironic. I could deadlift twice my body weight, do dozens of pull-ups, but whenever I tried to squat, my body felt locked. Either my heels lifted off the ground, my torso folded almost onto my thighs, or a sharp pain shot through my lower back at the bottom. I tried endless stretching, foam rolling, changing shoes. The problem persisted. For a while, I believed it was just my bone structure, that I was destined never to master the king of movements. Until I set aside all preconceptions and re-examined my body like a detective, finding the root cause everyone had overlooked. Today, I'll share this experience without reservation, and reveal the one thing that completely transformed my squat. Part 1. All the mistakes I made. Before finding the real answer, I went down countless wrong paths. Myth number 1. Aggressively stretching my hamstrings. You can't touch your toes. Your hamstrings are too tight. This was the advice I heard most. So I did seated forward folds daily, even using a towel to pull harder. Result: my hamstrings felt tighter, the pull when bending was stronger, and I was still stuck at the bottom of the squat. Myth number 2. Aggressively smashing my ankles. You can't squat deep because of poor ankle mobility. So I knelt on my heels daily, used barbell plates to push my knees over my toes. My ankle mobility did improve slightly, but my squat form was still awkward and my center of gravity unstable. Myth number 3. Aggressively training my core. Squat unstable, weak core, so I did endless planks and crunches. My core got stronger, but I still felt my body bounce back at the bottom of the squat, unable to hold the position. What was the problem? I was treating symptoms, never addressing the root cause. Part 2. The discovery that changed everything. The hip socket and femur conversation. One day, while reviewing sports anatomy resources, I saw a cross-sectional diagram of the hip joint. Suddenly, I froze. My problem wasn't flexibility, it was morphology. Every person's femoral head, top of the thigh bone, and the acetabulum hip socket have subtle differences in shape, orientation, and depth. I have a larger femoral anteversion angle, which means when I try to squat to depth, my femoral neck impacts the interior rim of my acetabulum prematurely, like a door hinge jamming. When this impingement occurs, my body instinctively makes 3 protective adjustments. Heels lifting, attempting to change the femur angle to avoid impingement. Posterior pelvic tilt, lower back rounding, making room for the femoral neck. Excessive torso lean, balancing the center of gravity to prevent falling backward. None of these were mistakes. They were my body's emergency avoidance program during impingement. And for years, I had been fighting this protective mechanism. Part 3. The one thing I did: change strategy, not fight my body. Once I understood the nature of the problem, the solution became suddenly clear. I didn't need to be softer, I needed to be smarter. The one thing that changed everything was switching my squat stance from narrow to sumo width. Specifically, I made 3 key adjustments. Adjustment 1. Significantly widen the stance. I increased my foot stance from shoulder width to approximately 1.5x shoulder width. This simple change fundamentally altered the movement path of my femur within the hip socket, from forward impact to outward glide. A wider stance places the femur in greater abduction and external rotation within the acetabulum, creating more space for the femoral neck and directly avoiding bony impingement. Adjustment 2. Toes out, not straight. I rotated my toes from pointing straight ahead to approximately 30 to 45 degrees outward. This placed my hip joints in a more natural, congruent anatomical position during flexion. Key point: knees must track in line with toes. This isn't bad stress on the knees, it's proper alignment of the hip joint. Adjustment 3. Actively spread the floor during descent. During the descent, I stopped passively sitting down, and instead actively applied external torque, imagining tearing the floor apart with my feet. This subtle cue activated my gluteus medius and deep external rotators, creating optimal space for the femoral head. Part 4. Changes after 3 weeks. A squat I'd never experienced before. 3 weeks after implementing these 3 adjustments, I stood before the squat rack, loaded the bar as usual, took a deep breath, descended, and I stopped at the bottom. No pain, no jamming, no earth to bounce. For the first time, I felt stable at the bottom of my squat, like a key finally fitting into its lock. I held that position for 5 full seconds, then stood up. I almost cried. In the following months, my squat weight started from 0 and steadily increased to 1.5x body weight, then 2x body weight. More importantly, my knees stopped hurting, and my lower back stopped aching. I didn't become a different person. I finally learned how to work with my natural body, not against it. Conclusion: the deepest strength comes from reconciliation. I couldn't squat for years, not because I didn't work hard enough, but because I worked hard in the wrong direction. I thought my body needed to be fixed, not realizing it needed to be listened to. The one thing that changed everything wasn't some magical stretch or expensive equipment. It was my decision to stop forcing my body to adapt to the movement, and instead let the movement adapt to my body. If you're also trapped in the frustration of not being able to squat, remember, your body is not broken. It's simply speaking in the language of pain and limitation, waiting for you to understand its voice. Find your one thing, then squat down and stand up. You're stronger than you think.